intercepted by Goolsby. Touchdown, Notre Dame.
Goolsby has been all over.
So it's been a lot of fun. We do things a little bit differently.
The Mike Goolsby Show with Mike Goolsby and Tim Hyde. Live.
Another Irish win, another Mike Goolsby Show. Coach Tim Hyde and myself. Tim, it feels like every weekend, every season of college football, rather, there's a wacky weekend where chaos ensues. We're going to kick the show off kind of talking about the new rankings, but as we kind of get into it, who had a worse weekend, James Franklin or Mark Sanchez?
First off, I'll be very honest. I have no idea. All I saw was Sanchez got stabbed. Brady Quinn replaced him in the booth today. So I don't know anything. So don't ask me anything about Sanchez, but I'm sure it's bad then if you're kicking off the show like that.
He had a bad Saturday night or whatever it was, Friday night. He had a rough night. We've all been there.
Oh my God. I saw the link. I'm like, I'm not clicking on that, Tim. He must have had a bad night. But oh my, come on. It's our buddy James Franklin. As I'm like crying, I'm like dying to like go read about it now. But no, I mean, we were, literally just talking about 5 seconds before we get before we hit live. It's like, dude, you just got to survive in advance, man. But you cannot lose the 0-4, 0-5 teams when you're a 28-point favorite, which they were yesterday. I saw the stat, UCLA had not even led for a second this year. They led the entire game yesterday. So, yeah, definitely Franklin, the rankings, many other teams, man, it's all about survive and advance. And that's, I think, what the big storyline with Notre Dame was yesterday was they beat a damn good Boise State team. Very, very good team. You got a team that's physical. They just play their asses off for 60 minutes. That's who they've been for 25, 30 years. So I was happy as hell. And I know a lot of people, Notre Dame people, were down. And I'm just like, why? When you start to look at the last 2 weeks, Mike, shit, the week before, number 3, 4, and 5, and 8 all lose. So survive, man. Survive. Get the 10 wins no matter what. Get the 10 wins and worry about it later.
Yeah, and you know this as a coach. I mean, to win a football game, and you hear about it at the NFL level all the time, like how truly difficult it is to win a football game. And yeah, given the context, it's yet another, as long as we've been doing this, I've been talking about it, as a player, like some of those afternoon games, they can just be a little sleepy and kind of hard to get yourself motivated for. To get up for. It's a thing. I can't put my finger on it. I don't have the magic elixir to fix it. It's very real. And then you factor in, the referees in this game, which we've got to get this out of the way, right? We got to talk about the 22 penalties, but the start, stop, the clunkiness of the operation from the officials leads to kind of a clunkiness in terms of your operation as a football program, specifically as an offense as well, too.
Yeah, and once again, I'm not, the penalties people want to lose their mind on, but outside of the Jason Anye one, I'm like, it seemed like a lot of other ones were, kind of legit. If you look at it, the Anye one, I feel horrible because that's an unbelievable interception. Notre Dame's got all the momentum. He's hitting him as he throws it. And I didn't know the college rule was like the NFL, unless I'm wrong, but And he had his hands up and he falls on him. His hands are up. That was an odd one. That was the only one. The people want to lose it on Eli Raritan, but hell, the Boise guy got one the next series as well. So you get those back and forth. But was there, I think, one PI maybe. And then the rest of them, right, were just a bunch of false starts or jump off sides. Tuli Alamaka jumps off sides. I mean, of course you got to call those. So. And it was a lot of, as well with Boise, they had a lot of false starts, things like that. So it was, to me, the Anye one. Outside of that, it's just penalties. That's just me. I know people lose their mind with the refs, but I'll be honest, I'm numb. I've seen Rocket Ismail with a phantom touchdown called back. The Bush push doesn't get called. The illegal pick against Florida State in 14. Hey, man. Refs are horrible. It is what it is. Survive them.
Yeah, and my take on that Anye deal,
it's
the
horrible.
timing of it was fair play, was just, and again, he's like letting up.
Yes.
Okay, my hands are up, like I'm not, but it's almost like they want you to brace yourself on top of him. Like push-up position, that's the way they want you to land versus your full weight on the guy. But
real quick on that, it's like we've all seen late hits. We've all seen true, legitimate late hits on a quarterback. When you're getting hit as you throw the ball and the guy steps and hits you, that's not a late hit. 2-3 steps into a quarterback, that's a late hit. So that was the one that was just absolutely brutal, and took a great interception. Snead's still going to put that in his highlight reel because it was a hell of a play. But yeah, that one killed the momentum. But then the Notre Dame defense, you could tell they got a little pissed off on that, and that's where KVA gets the pass breakup on 4th down. They still held them 4 straight plays and got the ball back and ended up obviously sealing the win. So that was it was an interesting game because I know we want to talk about the refs and all, but I thought it was very physical, very competitive, and Notre Dame missed some shots, and Boise, man, God, every time they got 5 yards, it was like a workout for them. Didn't it? I mean, I felt that way. There was some 3rd and 3s, and they got 3.1. There was a 4th and 6, they got 6.1. You know what I mean? It's like they always got a millimeter past it where they had to fight their life to get first downs. And that's what I felt. They just made Boise work for everything. Boise came into this game averaging 7.5 yards a play, and Notre Dame held them to 4.4. That's ridiculous. Over 220 yards rushing. They held them to 100. And let's be honest, 50 of them is the quarterback running for his life on scrambles because the defensive line was just tremendous in that game yesterday. So I thought the defense played their tails off and played with a ton of energy. 4 sacks, and how it's one of those games, Mike. It's like, how did you not have 9? They were all over that dude.
Yeah. So we're going to spend the second half of the show talking about the defense. I've got some fairly strong takes there, but let's start with the O. It feels like week to week we flip flop in terms of who you kind of want to showcase first. Offensive line's been playing great, and specifically in the pass game. But this was a game, and I just made a mental note right when NBC's showing the teams running out of the tunnel. Boise State was small, Tim. I mean, as I'm watching the bodies roll out, I'm like, okay, there's nobody that you're really going to be afraid of just in terms of the first guy out the bus type thing. So they're small. I think the talent gap was pretty apparent just in terms of the size, speed, the physicality. I mean, we had that one before the game kind of started off, but offensive line played great, specifically in pass pro. This is 2 weeks in a row now, Tim, and it had to be, of course, when NBC's showing CJ Carr's Heisman odds, right? CJ has arguably his worst game, just naturally the way things work out. But it's a couple weeks in a row, Tim, where CJ's had all damn day to throw, and we're missing on a couple of these deep balls where it's like, I want to say last week, maybe 4 to 6 balls that CJ maybe wished he had back. Obviously, he threw an interception that got dropped. What's going on there in terms of like the connection there? Why are we missing on some of these layups? You know, the most famously this game, kind of a deep route over the middle to Will Pauling. We'll look at the film later on. But what's your take on some of these just near misses, specifically in the deep game, deep balls?
Man, it's. I guess the easiest answer is that's why they call them 50-50 balls. I feel like on some of these, Pauling, I mean, the one hits him in the hands down there in the right end zone in the first half. He just tossed it up there. I mean, Pauling, you could say that one was a little underthrown, but when they show the slow-mo, it goes right through Will Pauling's hands. That should have been a touchdown. The one touchdown, he comes back and hits Pauling on the back shoulder to the left corner is awesome throw.
Great ball.
Man, great ball. Even the one to Fields. Some of them are just, it's been the slot fades. It's been the slot fades where you're trying to hit, a Great House or Pauling over the last few weeks, and they've just been a hair off. They really have. The ball's to the right when it should be the left. It's just minor things like that, and that's what I see. The one to Pauling that he doesn't hit, when they showed the end zone, the NBC side of it, he leads them way too much. And plus, Mike, the pass throw on that, he had 12 seconds. I felt like CJ, because it was like, kind of a max pro. No, I don't think that one was. I'm thinking of a different one deeper. But he had all day to throw the damn football, and he just hurried it. It's a post to Pauling. They short motion the guy to bring the safety, and he hits him. It's right there. That's just one of those where you're just going to be kicking yourself forever. Like, oh my God, what a wide open touchdown that was. So to me, that was him rushing, like zero need to rush on that thing. Cause you go back in the pocket, was just perfect. So I think a lot of them, and that has been his thing. Like in the game yesterday, I saw a stat today, Carr on throws 20 yards and less, he's 14 for 14. He's just boom, 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 dealing it. He's unbelievable on those deep crossers. He's hit some of the out routes in this game to Faison and Pauling, whoever it is. I mean, 14 for 14 on 20 and under. And the deep shots is still, I think, a work in progress. That's just my take on that.
Could it be a thing where, like, as an athlete, imagine I played with a guy, you remember the name, Raymond McKnight, Tim?
Oh, yeah, Raymond, yeah.
He would make behind the back, doing a backflip. He'd make the most difficult catch in the world look easy, but then oftentimes he would drop a wide open pass. So I think it's just something with a young quarterback. He's got all day, and just that pressure mounts as he's trying to set up to release that ball. So hopefully that gets better, with continued experience and continued reps.
Yeah, there's been a few, and there's just been a few. I feel like he's just been so close. They've just missed the mark. Timing, but I also think is CJ. We could sit and say his arm and all that, but man, he really doesn't let it go, even though he's throwing deep. He's kind of like trying to. I always feel like when you watch him, it looks like he's trying to touch it too much instead of just throw the damn thing out there and just let that guy go chase it. It's almost like he's trying to do too much of a touch, 35, 40 yards down the field. So. Because some of those, as we've seen the last couple of weeks, they've hit the guys in the helmet. They've hit a defender in the back where it's obviously the ball is short. So you could get a PI on those. And then I've gone back and rewatched it, and it's like, man, just let it go. Just let it go. It was trying to be a timing. It's a little too much.
It's almost like he's almost got a string on it where he's just trying to pull it back, almost like. Yeah. And there was a slant. It was a PI, but he threw a short slant, in breaking to Pauling on the goal line, and there was defensive holding. But that was one where you could physically see Carr was trying to just slightly push it. Yeah. Yeah,
and it hit on an outside shoulder. And if it's right in the thing, it's a walk-in touchdown. So that one was just a hair. But yeah, you're right, where he's trying to just aim him at times here and there. But real quick, it's funny you said that on the offensive line. I jumped on I went and looked up, the PFF grades just to see him. I know people. But who was the highest graded PFF guy this week? Leonard Moore over 90. Obviously that one was pretty good. So Knapp was an 87, Lambert a 79, Wagner an 83, Craig 77, and Schrauf was the worst at 69. And with PFF graders, I've heard these guys talk about it. They say anything 65 and above in college is winning football. So anything 75 and above is like elite. You're up towards 90. They're like, that's a unicorn. So Knapp, and then rewatching the game, you could just see it. These guys in pass pro were just dialed in. So really, really good. And that's going back to just giving Carr plenty of time. They've done it 2 weeks in a row. So continue that with NC State, USC, the bye, just keep this thing going and keep getting better. And they don't have to play Miami's front, especially after watching those guys wrecked havoc last night against Florida State. So that is without a doubt the best D-line in the country.
No, there's no doubt about it. And you got to give – you kind of took the offensive line to task, Emil Wagner specifically, for that performance against Penn State.
Yes.
It's continued improvement, so you've got to call it out. Now let's talk running backs real quick, Tim.
Sure.
I was asked by Mark with Glasses, by the way, who gets some credit, all the credit. He did that little intro video. Well done by Mark.
Yes.
And while I'm at it too, I met a gentleman last weekend who's a big Notre Dame fan, commented on my hat. Brock, shout out to Brock. I told him I'd give him a shout out. I forgot to do it last week, so I'm making it right this week. But back to the running backs. Mark with glasses is like, hey, can you guys talk about who's better?
Okay.
Love or Price? And there's a lot of, internet, Twitter chatter in terms of Price is the better running back. I think it's a fun conversation. We love them both, right? They're like your kids. We love them both. They've got unique kind of skill sets. But what does Tim Hyde think about this conversation? Who's the better back? Who deserves more carries, et cetera?
Well, yeah, you say both, right? No,
Yeah.
both. Exactly. There you go, Brian. Both. No, it's funny. I saw someone say get rid of the Wildcat. I love Jeremiah Love, but I swear if he just reads his blocks, the dude's got 12 touchdowns this year. There's so many times he's had touchdowns this year and he hasn't bounced it. That one, if you guys go back and watch, I know I've seen this commented, oh, we got to get rid of the Wildcat. It's a walk-in touchdown. Everyone blocks it beautifully up front in the tight end.
Faison blocks his ass off. Yeah.
No, I think it was Micah Gilbert was in there, knocked the hell out of the corner, knocks him off his thing. All he has to do is follow CJ Carr. It's a walk-in touchdown. And and this could be the Penn State issue, right? Where he battles 12 guys against Penn State to get that 3-yard touchdown. He tries to do that every time now. I feel like it's like, dude, like same thing in A&M. He always wanted to cut it inside to A&M. It's like, bounce it outside. That's what's killing me. It's like, dude, you're faster than all these guys. Make them chase you to the sidelines. So I want to see some more of that. And he was an inch away from doing it like twice against Boise. So it's interesting, because you asked me about this an hour ago. So I just went and looked up the stats real quick, Mike. And Love's only averaging 5.4 a rush. And I think some of that is his Wildcats have gotten killed. That stopped him. I've told you guys, he has a 60-yard walk-in touchdown against Miami. If he bounces it, he cuts it inside and he gets 3 yards and everyone blames the O-line. I'm like, that's on Love. Price is averaging 7.4. Price is 7 touchdowns. Love was 6. They each have, Price has a long of 49 and Jeremiah a long of 46. Obviously, the difference is Love's got over 160 yards receiving and the 3 touchdowns. So that's right there. But, dude, they're both it's interesting now when they're coming in. They're almost like 2 different type of guys, too. The way they're really starting to form and take shape and who's doing what on what carries and what running plays, who's running differently. So it's been fun to watch. So it's hard to say this guy or that guy because I think we're both seeing you got obviously 2 NFL running backs here. And if one's getting 17, give the other, make sure he's getting 14. You got to make sure. And the best thing about this, Mike, is you and I have talked for years. You and I are not one thing we could agree on is we've never been fans of playing 5 running backs. We've never been fans of rotating, 62 guys on a team. Play your best guys. And Sider's just like, I got 2 and you guys are playing. And that's been the best thing I think this year.
I watched the game back today. I haven't got a chance yet to jump into the actual film, and that'll come out on Patreon the next day or 2. Something you mentioned earlier where it's like, Jeremiah Love, if he can bounce it, he hits it inside. If he should hit it inside, he tends to bounce it. And Jared Clark, when we were doing this last film, he was like, by the end of the film, we did the whole first half, right? 2 hours just on the first half.
Yeah.
But he was like, man, it's always so hard for him. It's always so hard for him. And I was thinking that he was going down the path of like, he's making it too hard where he's trying to make highlight reel runs or he wants to run somebody over. What he was actually saying was the defense absolutely keys on Love, Tim.
Oh, God, yeah.
And it started in the playoff run. And there's something to that. And I think Jeremiah Love is more gifted. He's more talented than Price. I mean, that's my argument. But there's something to that defense where it's like they are circling number 4 on the film more so than number 24. So when he gets that rock, it's like the whole defense tries to pounce on him. That's a very real thing. And then I was watching this Boise game, and I'm like, did Jeremiah look a little slow to me? Like just a 10% slower. And I'm like, is it the white shoes? Because he normally wears a dark shoe with the blue spat. I'm like, what is it? And I think that Jeremiah this week was trying to work through, Tim, like the timing of things to get a better feel, get better vision that you see from a Jadarian Price. And they've talked about that where they kind of, take notes on one another, where I can borrow this from Jeremiah's game, or I can borrow this from Jadarian's game. I think there was an element of that this week where like the tempo from Jeremiah Love's a little bit slower. He's not a bat out of hell once he gets that handoff from CJ.
Yeah, and it is, you're talking there. I'm just trying to think of a couple.
Yeah, you play it through in your mind. Yeah,
yeah, like some of the run stuff yesterday were just Boise. Like we're going to sell out everybody. They're basically playing cover zero run pops. And Notre Dame, man, they really love inserting their wide receivers into it. They don't have Jaden Thomas was like legendary with this, the way he would insert and block. And you're doing it with Faison and Pauling. Pauling, absolutely. I think it's a Love one where they run trying to run a counter, and Pauling just gets blown backwards. Love's got nowhere to run, and it's -4. And you're like, damn it, Love, and you're like, no, it's Pauling gets his head kicked in, and that happened. What was that? The Miami game, right, where wide receivers were playing tight ends in that game and getting killed inside. So it's been a little mix of that. But there's one in the Boise game, man, where Denbrock just goes 4 wides, he's going trips, and Notre Dame was running zone to the weak side, and Love is like, oh my God, he's every time he gets it, he's literally going 75 yards at any moment. It's just always a hit on the thigh or he's fun to watch, and he's definitely going to break it. I feel like the whole Heisman thing, just real quick on that, was, I think, man, if Notre Dame could just keep doing what they're doing, I truly believe he's going to be in the conversation, because he's going to have games like, Arkansas, 3-4 touchdowns. Like even yesterday, like you're saying, he looked a little off and slow, and he still had 100 yards rushing, still got a couple touchdowns. So he's going to get back in that just because of his name and his highlights. And even the Boise, right? The guy jumps like it's just going out of style. I swear I thought he was going to jump over that guy. He was
on that jump where he kind of ninja kicks him.
Yep.
Watch that back. He does a 360 in midair. He's got the ball out here. He's 4 foot in the air, and he literally does a 360 and lands on his feet. I mean, he's remarkable. It's sexier than the way Jadarian Price plays the game. And then you kind of mentioned the usage where it's like, I think Jadarian got 1 carry in the first half and Jeremiah carried the load. And this is just, you got to break out the tinfoil hat every now and then. But to me, it was like, we're trying to exercise some demons with Jeremiah early in the game and kind of work on this tempo. And I think it was a concerted effort to kind of do so. And then the other thing is too, in terms of usage and all this, I'll put it back on Tim. Well, Cooper. Jeremiah's gone after this year, right? He's gone. So, run him till the treads comes off the tires, right? We keep him healthy, but sure, dude, run him into the ground. Might there be a tinfoil hat theory where it's like we do leave intentionally, so we do leave a little bit of meat on the bone for Jadarian to try to entice him to come back next year? Might that be a thing where it's like, well, you don't have the numbers, you don't quite have all the film, but next year, you're going to be the guy.
I mean, seriously, it'd be awesome if Notre Dame could get him back and just be like, yeah, you're going to get the $2+ million in NIL this year. It's
already in the budget, Tim. It's already in the budget.
I mean, my God, exactly. Price has a new deal every week, it looks like. So definitely it's in the budget. And just, man, can you imagine just just giving a guy 20-something carries, just bam, go hammer him. Because I feel Price, with the way he runs, because he can bounce it at a moment. He's young, he's jacked, he's physical.
You see him at the press conference. He looks like a bodybuilder. I mean, just
he's
in terms of the trap and all that. He's built for 20 carries, whereas Jeremiah,
without a doubt,
a little bit different usage.
Exactly, and it's like, does Price want to do that? I hope so, because Notre Dame would be awesome next year at the running back if he's coming back and stays healthy, which obviously he's been doing. So that would be a blast. But no, Love is just, and I also feel like Denbrock, obviously he's highlighted him at times. He's saving stuff. He's saving stuff with Love. He just is. And there's going to just be another perfect matchup where I don't know how any of these guys are going to cover him out of the backfield, just on any wheel routes. Look at the little circle route he hit, right? If that's versus a blitz and a perfect time, boom, that's 80 yards. That circle route he caught and got a first down was awesome. So, yeah, he's a touchdown waiting to happen. So just enjoy him. Just enjoy him, man. Even when he got nicked up, it's like, oh, my God, the knee again, right? Just to me, when you watch that, what do you think, Mike? It looked like someone landed on him. That's what it looked like to me, like landed on his leg and how he got a little injured and was out for a couple plays, or actually a series, I believe. Did Goolsby freeze? Did I freeze? Am I here? You guys hear me? In the chat, can you guys hear me? All right, you guys are good? Yeah, all right, I'll keep talking. I guess Goolsby must have froze. He's coming back in real quick. Hey, well, let me do this real quick because, okay, I see K-Max says I'm good. Okay. With you mentioned CJ Carr. Here comes Mike back in.
Was that me? Was that me, by the way?
Yeah, you froze out.
It's raining cats and dogs outside. Maybe that was it. Sorry, folks.
No, it's okay. Heck, I thought it was me. We've had like a mini heat wave here for a few days, which is wild. But I was going to say, since we're going from running back to a quarterback, because, we talked about Carr earlier, through 5 games, man, he's in the top 30 in completion percentage. I think he's 67, 68%, which is pretty awesome. 6th in yards per pass. That tells you, obviously the way they've been attacking. And then still his efficiency, he's 7th in the QBR, the ESPN analytics, and the college football national one, he's 9th. So he's still up there with some big numbers. I know some people thought Carr will be up for the Heisman. I'm the opposite. I'm like, give it to Love, man. Make sure Love gets the stats, the yards, the highlights, because I think seeing him in New York, it would just be amazing for the football program.
Yeah, and started talking about that in the offseason. It's like, because it did feel like that Jeremiah was running his own Heisman campaign. We talked about that on Patreon all offseason. It was like, whose responsibility is that? Is that the sports information department, to kind of start? It felt like when you saw Jeremiah doing hits on ESPN or whatever, he was the one tooting his own horn. It didn't feel like it was coming from the program per se.
Yeah, you know what? And I've heard you say this before, and I've always had my take is it for Notre Dame. I mean, for anybody, it's always about the wins. It's always about the team. And then once the team gets rolling, who's that guy? And that's how I always think. And I don't think it's so much the sports information guy like the old days where they're mailing pamphlets and all that stuff, because obviously highlights are 24/7 now with anyone. So I think it's Love. I think it's just his highlights, his plays, just show. I mean, like ESPN today showed his big run and then Price's big touchdown run. They each got a highlight on the ESPN quick little blurb they did on the Boise thing. So it's, man, him jumping over people and scoring, that's the Heisman thing. I feel, his numbers are still actually, when you do his yards, his rushing and receiving, he's got 600 yards in 5 games. So, obviously a bunch of touchdowns, over 100 yards a game. Notre Dame keeps winning. Because there's no like dude just freakazoid right now, unless I'm wrong. I haven't been paying attention, but it doesn't feel like that with the Heisman. That's why I think a 10-2 Notre Dame, I really think Love is going to be in that conversation, because if they're going 10-2, that means he just keeps getting it.
Yeah, obviously Jeremiah Smith is the one, right? In terms of it, just folks love to talk about him, the ESPNs of the world. But we had a fun little chat on the chat feature on Patreon in terms of like, is Jeremiah Love a better all-around running back than Reggie Bush? Stylistically, they're kind of the same. I played against Reggie Bush, and
I know
it looks like Jeremiah Love is a more physical, explosive athlete, whereas maybe Reggie Bush was a little bit more fluid. Reggie Bush is playing in the soft, Pac-10 back then. I'm just telling you, it's like Reggie Bush won a Heisman. He's 2nd pick overall. I mean, Jeremiah Love has that kind of ability, just a little bit more explosive.
Yeah, but Reggie Bush averaged 8-9 yards a carry and Love's at 5'4" right now. So obviously Love really needs to shoot that thing up. But I saw you post that, man. For me, dude, Reggie Bush is he's just different, man. He was just explosive. Not saying Jeremiah Love is, but man, Bush was just like Andrew Gilmore just said it. Bush was faster. I think so too. Bush was he had some games where he just took games over. I don't know if you've seen that with Love, have we? Where he's just taken a game over. It was hard, obviously, in the playoffs because he was banged up his knee. He's had great games, don't get me wrong, but
it's a fun debate to mix it up. But I could say, yes, is Reggie Bush maybe
yeah, that's the thing. He will. I mean, his numbers pale compared to Bush. But Bush was obviously splitting carries with Lendell White. Man, Reggie Bush was just unbelievable. See, who got Adam? Was it Bush should cut back the length of the? Yes. He's
he's playing the Fresno States of the world back then, and I'm just telling you, Jeremiah Love is 15 pounds heavier. He might be a half of a tenth of a second slower. Reggie Bush isn't playing fullback, on quarterback power in the way Jeremiah.
Not true. I mean, Love blocks. No, there's no doubt about it. I mean, Jeremiah Love is an unbelievable. Jeremiah Love is a physical football player. All that he gets after that, but he's also playing a lot of Sisters of the Poor in the ACC, and he gets the academies to pad stats on it. It's interesting how the great Notre Dame running backs, all of their greatest games ever are against Navy or Army. So they always seem to get that on there. But man, Reggie Bush, that's an interesting conversation. Just it's one we got to compare the highlights, right? Let's compare the highlights and who goes there. But that's a fun one. Let's get to the end of the season and have a good comparison.
And last thought on Reggie Bush before we flip over to the defensive side of the ball. We played him, Tim.
Yeah.
Leinert's under center. Reggie's in like a dot formation. They shift, they go into the gun, and Reggie Bush he's going to the other linebacker because we're 2-on-1 man coverage. And I'm like, oh, thank God, I don't have to cover man to man. They throw it was a wheel route. He catches it. He's running away from Dwight Alec. Dwight Alec won the 100 meters in Florida and the 200 meters in Florida. He's running away from him. I'm just running for the sake of running. And Tim, I could feel his speed. It was like an afterburner off like a jet engine. Like I could feel him pushing me away. That's how fast he was. But let's talk defense, Tim.
No, I was going to say real quick. This is a great comment Michael has. Bush is the best player. I was there at the Bush game. Yeah, his game in that game, he had like 175 yards rushing in that game. He's a special one. This would be a great conversation to have. You know what I mean? At the end of the year, like comparing these guys, that would be awesome. Yeah,
and 5 years into their NFL careers too, to see how they things kind of stack up. But
I feel you.
Hey, so defense early on, different energy this week. Yeah, I tweeted it. You could feel it. You could sense it. The boys were back to having fun out there. Statistically, we brought more pressure. But something else that I felt watching the game, and some of the data kind of backs this up, but it felt like there was or maybe there has been like a shift in terms of like leadership, maybe player leadership on the defensive side of the ball in terms of, KVA for the first time ever out-snapped Bowen.
Yes, I saw that.
And like last week, I think there was 50-30. Bowen had 50 snaps. KVA had 30. This week, KVA had 63. Bowen had 55. And then Tay Johnson is another one. Like the way that these young kids are playing, Dallas Golden is probably going to get the start this week. Devonta Smith can't stay healthy, but it's just something I sensed that like the player leadership is a little bit different, and like the play style is a little bit more physical. It's more downhill. It's a little bit more electric. Do you have any thoughts on that, Tim?
Yeah, I mean, in the chat, I brought this up like a week ago talking to a bunch of the peeps. Is to me, it's a Don Shuler. I think since he's come back in that second half against Purdue, completely different team. And just he had a press conference a week ago. He's one of the guys talking, and just the way he talked, you could you can feel it's the same thing happening, with, some of the teams that have been losing and probably had a lot of hype, and you put too much pressure on yourself, right? I'm thinking obviously Penn State and Texas now are 1-2 and not even ranked. So did Schuler put so much pressure on himself early on? He's a captain. I don't know his leadership styles. I was actually surprised he was named a captain. I mean, we got a bunch of juniors captain, so that was a little surprising, being a one-year guy and an instant captain. So did he put too much on him? I don't know. So it's just a mental thing is what I'm trying to say.
Sure.
Obviously the interception against Miami that's going to be one of those plays. How the hell do you not intercept that and you lose by 3, right? That's going to be one of those all season long, like that play. There's a couple of these have already taken place this year. So he really, to me, is, watching, the film and breaking it down, very noticeable. Dude, there's a play. God, I should have marked it, and I'll highlight it when we talk this week on Patreon. There's one, man, I had to slow-mo it. He's a missile. There's a run stuff. I think it's Bowen, because they played a lot of 4-3 this week too.
Mm-hmm.
The way Boise was matching up, so KVA.
It almost looked like we brought back the Rover at times, Tim.
Yes, I mean just an old school 4-3. Osbury walked out. KVA walked out on some Sam, on some slots at times. Yeah, it looked like an old, the old 2002 4-3 defense out there in a way, and Schuler just is screaming downhill on the runs and just knocking the hell out of people. So something about him has really stuck out. And then we're going to talk about this. This is going to be huge off-season things when you dive into the season. We've kind of talked about it a little bit this year, but you and I talked. I mean, it was all you had to do is watch Tay Johnson for 3 snaps against Miami and be like, why is he not playing? And then you had Stroman and Talich were in the rotation ahead of him, which was like, just why? I'm just talking pure athleticism. It was so noticeable. And ever since then, I know you and I were even texting that week before any shows or anything, like, my God, is Tay Johnson unbelievable, just as an athlete. And Mike, it's 5 games. From game 1 to now, completely different as we talk all the time. Reps, man. It's about reps. That dude doesn't come off the field now, nor should he. He's like Xavier Watts. He never came off the field. You don't need to take him off. Same with Tay Johnson. Play him. He got 1 pick. I swear he's been close to 7 already this year. So
sure has. Yeah.
Play him. Kingston has obviously just been outstanding. Drake Bowen had some great run fits and really good pass rush on one. So it just felt like more guys are starting to get comfortable and maybe some of their roles. But the secondary is a biggie. Dallas Golden, you're right. I mean, they bring in these 2, the Bama, Alabama, and the Virginia Tech transfer in, and you're instantly now like, Devontae Smith's super talented, really good, talented football player. But Dallas Golden is it's him as well. That's a 5th-year Bama guy. Dallas Golden could do the same things. You could tell he's a little passive at times on.
He's not quite comfortable. Yeah.
He's waiting because, hey, that's the slot, man. It's a different world. But and Johnson's just obviously taken over Stroman's position. So, and then Leonard Moore back is just outstanding. I mean, let's be honest. Probably the 3 best athletes out there on defense are Kingston, Leonard Moore, and Tay Johnson, all sophomores. And on the D line, obviously Boubacar. I think you texted or put something about that in the chat on Patreon. Like, he's not being talked about enough, and you are so right. His last 2 weeks and going back and rewatching him, it's completely different person. I put this on my little sticky note right here. Shout out to the trainers. Seriously, Mike, think of this. How the heck is Jordan Metelo playing? That guy's been possessed, right? He's got like no body parts that are healthy, and he's playing. The guy's had 15 surgeries the last 3 years. Gerby Lambert, we didn't even think he was going to come back, and he's been a 5-game starter. And then I wrote down Leonard Moore for getting him back so soon. But seriously, Boubacar Traore, here's a guy with an ACL injury. It does not look like it, does it? He is playing physical against the run as well. So kudos to him. But some of these guys on D, And lastly, I know I'm rambling. I apologize for that. It's a great topic, and I'm excited to chat with you this week and dive into it on Patreon. But it's 5 games, right? It just feels like they're getting, and we've talked about this, their personnel right. They're getting some of these bodies matched up, and they're not doing 1,000 rotations. Luke Talich plays, it's automatic dime. You see, what's Talich, 28? You see him come on the field, automatic dime. That's fine. It's 3rd and 8. We all know that stuff. But they've really lessened who's playing. They know their roles and let these guys get after it.
Yeah, that's the frustrating piece about it. I think Jack Sullivan, one of our teammates on Patreon, he had a tweet where it's like, Carson Hobbs is like the I guess the key example or prime example of this, where it's like, what a swing and a miss on the coaching staff. Nothing against the young man, but it's like, he gets your start, trying to travel and follow Tony around against Miami. And it's like, clearly Devonta Smith's a better player. And then now you've got a Dallas Gold who's going to get more and more comfortable. Yes. But you mentioned the personnel, and I thought you were going to say personality. It's like they've got their personality back when all the data is out there now, where it's like, I think we pressured 43% of the snaps. You end up with X number of sacks, X number of interceptions. It's like, well, no shit, Sherlock. How important, and by the way, the tweet about Traore was that he's playing better than most people realize. And that's you got to get into the film and just be like, he's playing super physical, Tim. He's playing super confident. Hell, he almost looks bigger now than he did week 1 against Miami. That's how, powerfully he's playing. But getting a Leonard Moore back, Jalen Sneed had probably the game of his life. Another kid who's got he has so much juice. And I don't know if he's ever going to be a full 3-down player, but like there's leadership with the way that he plays that game, the excitement that he brings, the physicality, the violence that he plays with. But was it as simple and obvious, Tim, as just getting Leonard Moore back, who's also a giant, by the way? If you look at some of the angles in the TV copy, he is tall, dude.
It's interesting because there's another thing I was chatting with some guys this week over at Patreon is I mentioned if Leonard Moore is not here, Christian Gray is an All-American boundary corner. Christian Gray has been unbelievable in the boundary. Playing in the field, I don't think people realize playing in the field, you're in an ocean by yourself.
Yeah.
Because, 90% of the games are on hash marks. You just watch a game, chart a game, and rarely do you chart M for middle. It's all on the hash marks. So, yeah, getting him back, because I know Christian.
But is it? Let me finish my thought because I'm the one rambling there. But is it as simple as getting Leonard Moore back in terms of the confidence that gives to your coverage unit, where Coach Ash feels more compelled to bring extra pressure, or is it just like the light bulbs kind of gone off, or is it some of these conversations with Freeman and the defensive staff urging him to do so? Is it a mix of all three?
That's a great question because I really think 5 games in now, we got 2 left, the bye. I mean, this is a big part of the season, but I think so much of it was just trying to figure out who they have. Yeah. I mean, Leonard Moore was outstanding against Miami. They got killed at the nickel spot, right? They got killed there. That's the spot you're going to attack. They got hit with some safety plays I highlighted on Patreon of the free safety playing in the boundary and no one's to the wide side. Well, hell, the passes are going to the wide side. There's no safety help. Hobbs left out on an island by himself too many times. Same thing, Hobbs versus A&M. That A&M wide receiver is outstanding. Concepcion and then the Mississippi State transfer. Those guys could tear anybody apart, and he's playing those guys every single snap without a break. So, and they're still trying to figure out, Mike. It feels like just so many, who's who, even on the D line, right? Mixing and matching rotations. It just feels like it's a little bit less, a little bit more comfortability. We could sit there and say, they're playing more zone. Mike, you know who plays more zone than anyone in the country? Ohio State. All they do is play zone, by the way. So I know Notre Dame fans are like, play man. Don't watch the Buckeyes then, because all they do is play zone and just get after you. But and I think Notre Dame was trying to do that. Hey, let's play some zone. We got Tay Johnson, Luke Talich, Stroman, Hobbs, you name it underneath, guys that we're still, can they do certain things? And maybe they played too much zone, let's be honest. They probably did. And they played a little too hesitant at times, but I think they're getting in a flow, and I think they really, really know who's who.
So as a coach, you're 5 weeks in and you're kind of like figuring out like who's your dudes, right? I think Jack clipped like, okay, these are the guys that we're going to war with. Talked about it last Monday Night Raw. It's frustrating for the fan base to be like, how did it take you 5 weeks in season to see some of this stuff that Tay Johnson, like it's so obvious. Now, as a coach and a staff, can you like overlook the evaluation piece because you're too focused on the installation piece in terms of like revamping this defense, adding in more zone coverage? Could that just be a human error? Like,
no, that's a great. I mean, I went back a couple of weeks ago and I listened to old Al Golden. Once again, I got no life, right? I'm sitting there washing dishes and listening to old Al Golden press conference.
No, it's not that you don't have a life, Tim. It is your life.
Exactly.
It is your
life.
But
I went back and Al Golden's sitting there literally talking about this exact point where he did so much. Remember, that's the other thing. Remember in 2022, they were dead last in the country in red zone D. If you got into the end zone, automatic touchdown. Notre Dame ain't stopping anybody because he said he did too much. And he looked back and did Freeman and Ash to say, hey, let's just put a bunch of D together and let's see what we had. Where when Golden was like, I remember his quote was, I'm trying to install a defense. Instead, it's like, I have 12 games. Install the D for those games. I don't need this other crap if I'm not going to use it against this other team. So that's where obviously the change took place in 23 and 24 was Golden just prepped for the teams he's playing. He didn't give a damn about other stuff. So that's the thing. So maybe they went in with too much. And I'm with you, Mike. It kills me. I've been there as a coach, and it's frustrating. But some guys do it when the lights are on, right? Some guys, and you've talked about this over the years when you and I have done shows together. Some guys are great practice players. They just are. And you're a great practice player in the spring, and you're like, oh, man, little Billy's just kicking butt. He's unbelievable free safety. And then there's some guys – you don't know about it until they're in the game, right? And coaches, and you've heard me say this, Mike, it's like you sometimes go with what's so comfortable. And they probably were like, well, Talich, Stroman, they played snaps. Stroman's played snaps. Mike, Tay Johnson hasn't. Tay Johnson's never practiced safety until this year, for crying out loud. Mm-hmm. Let's wait and see. But then he gets in there, and that dude is that guy. He's an NFL football player. So
it's a great comment. We'll get to Jacob's super chat here. P-Dub just had a comment where sometimes coaches like misevaluate experience for talent. And it's like, yeah, kind of to your point. And then, your worst thing you want to do is put somebody out there and have a blown coverage. So if Jalen Stroman's out there, checking all those, there's no mental errors over the course of fall camp. It's like, well, I, as a coach, have a lot of trust in him. Worst thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I can avoid the worst case scenario where he gets misaligned or he doesn't know what he's doing. Whereas like a Tay Johnson, maybe you're not as quite comfortable or confident like that he's going to like maybe not have a bust here or there, but he's too talented. He's too talented. And then you see Jalen in a game, flat-footed.
Yep.
Poor angles.
Stopping. He's middle third. I lost it a few times, as you know, when we do film. It's literally stopping his feet, and it's like, dude, you're the middle third player. What are you reading?
You're 35 yards off the ball.
It's like, come on. But that has been, let's be honest. The biggest thing over these 5 games has been, and we talked about this for like long ago. It feels like play your best athlete, and after those first 2 games, it was like, yeah, Tay Johnson's not coming off the field. I remember you and I when we did our first show. I think we even said that. Don't take him off the field, and he has it. So I think that's been a huge revelation, in this season. Golden, Carson Hobbs, I feel bad for the guy. He was just out there against the 2 best teams.
He's
not even playing. But there's one with like Dallas Golden. Well, he just got here in July. What do we do with him? If he's your best guy, man, play him. And I think now they're just like, we're playing him. He blitzed 3 or 4 times the other against Boise. They were doing some nickel fires. I was like, who is that? I was 14 blitzing him. So he's definitely grown into his role where they're comfortable in blitzing him.
And Golden's still going to get more comfortable. You could see it. I mean, he's still a little hesitant. That'll get better and better. But Golden's another really good-looking athlete. He's a lot bigger than I thought he was looking at his high school tape.
Yeah.
But I just want to make that point, and that it's something that, as I'm watching the game, it felt like there's a little bit of a dynamic shift in terms of leadership, where some of these younger players, they've got 5 games under their system. They now know how to communicate, etc. And like at the linebacker position, the snaps were, they were different. And so that'll be interesting to see what happens over the course of the next 2 games. But I think like a KBA, a Tay Johnson, the fire that they play with, that matters as much as, communication. Go ahead, Tim.
I was going to say, and just talking about that, obviously Drake is a captain, and Drake's out there, and you watch Drake and he's leading. You see him with the hand signals and moving guys around all the time. Same with Kingston. I mean, Kingston's going to be a captain next year. The way his communication skills are just boom, they pop on film. You just see 27 is all, but that goes back to the guy was a freshman starter at St. John Bosco, the best high school football program in the country, then the modern day. So he's been in those pressure moments. He's been a leader since, playing as a freshman at that level is insane. So
the thing is
to it in the way he runs around. And Osprey, there's another one.
Great game.
Number 4 is junior year, and you're slowly seeing him playing at a different level than he did obviously last year, because he's a year older, obviously. But man, he's really popping off this year. All the linebackers are. Hell, they're all good as could be.
Yeah, and Osprey's always had a really good feel for playing linebacker. It's like he played tailback in a former life, and that's just all. It's all the position is to me, anyways. But yeah, back to KBA, and we're co-presidents of the fan club. But like the kid plays, what position does he play, Tim? He's got his hand in the dirt playing DN. He's playing Sam linebacker this week. So it's like if the guy plays 5 or 6 positions, I'm pretty sure he understands how to communicate what the defense is. If he's got to learn 5 different roles. To answer Andrew's question, who was somebody you played with who was a poor practice player but a gamer on Sundays? Probably me, dude.
I've heard you say this before.
I've been saying this for years. Like, again, going like my junior, I did not know what I was doing. Derek Curry and Courtney Watson would get me lined up. And then even as a senior, like half the time I knew what I was doing, and Derek Curry would always tip me off. So I love Derek to this day just for that, just for helping me, kind of see what I was seeing. But let's get to this.
I have one more thing. As we're talking about defense, is the same thing as a coach. It drives you nuts because you've always heard reports about number 42, Cole Mullins. The guy now, the last couple of weeks, man, Mike, when he gets in, he's a pass rusher. And it's like, why didn't you just play him in game 1, right? There's another guy. His motor, same thing with Elijah Hughes, right? Why you pass rushing with so-and-so, when they were in the game? It goes back to personnel groupings. Now you're seeing Mullins inserted a ton in their third down packages because he plays with fire, man. The guy is relentless pass rusher, but just where was that early, correct? So there's, once again, certain little guys are starting to show up more and more.
And that's displacing Heinisch, who's a captain. I mean, he's taken reps away from a captain based off of his play style. Now that the coaches trust him, he knows what he's doing. And quite frankly, he's a bigger 41, 42. He's a bigger version of Heinisch in terms of the way they play. Longer, bigger.
Got a couple more minutes. What do we got?
Let's wrap it up on Jacobs because I know Tim wants to go watch the Pats play. Good luck.
They're going to get destroyed, but it's all right. It's Sunday night.
If you're Boise's DC, I'll let you answer this, Tim, on our way out. If you're Boise's DC and you see Love destroying a blitzing linebacker, as he's prone to do, does that make you reluctant to bring more blitzers?
Probably. I'll be honest with you. I was actually stunned they didn't heat more because that was their thing coming into this game. They were leading the country in TFLs and sacks, and they did a lot more 4-man rushes than I expected. I think I mean, they played off a bunch. They kept everything in front of them. That's why obviously Carr was 20 for 20, throwing the ball underneath. But yeah, I mean, love. You know, this is a Mike Goolsby thing, man. You've talked about this. He will jack you up on blocking. Jeremiah Love is not scared to hit anyone. So yeah, that could be it. And I'm sure it's fearful of getting Jeremiah Love in a screen, right? Let him go 65 yards. But that could be part of it. But that was one of my biggest takeaways. I expected Boise just to heat, and they just did not. And when they did, they picked it up in pass pro.
Yeah. Well, Tim, another MG show in the books. Quality win. Chaos ensues across the landscape of college football. To your point, whether you're a player, whether you're a coach, one game at a time.
Yes.
Keep doing what you're doing. Keep stacking hay in the barn. We'll see where we wind up in a few months.
Hold on real quick. As we go, and you guys, whoever watches this back or chat, post, who you're rooting for this week. Michigan, SC. I've already said my thing. I want Michigan. I want Michigan to just beat up SC and just make them tired, sore, bruised when they come to South Bend. As I've told Mike this many times, I don't need USC to be good. I like when they're beat up and crying. That's a lot more fun for Notre Dame fans.
Hey, do you know offhand, Tim, is Southern? Are the Trojans traveling to Ann Arbor or vice versa?
Oh, it's at the Coliseum.
Got it.
It's at the Coliseum. Okay. So yeah, they've had a bye. So this is kind of like Penn State last year went to the Coliseum. UCLA this year. USC got to obviously host Penn State last year. They're hosting Michigan this year. So I think SC's big road trip this year is Nebraska. I don't know. I think they host Iowa, so it's Nebraska, correct? I forget who else SC's played. Heck, I can't. Heck, they just lost to Illinois, so there you go from there. But I'm rooting for them. So you guys put your comments in. Who do you want to? I'm rooting for Michigan. I hope they just run the ball and hammer them and make those guys nice and sore when they come to South Bend.
I think that's that's probably the recipe.
Exactly. I don't
off the field. It makes too much sense.
Yeah, exactly. I don't care about USC needs to be ranked and all that. I don't care. I want those guys beat up. So go get them. Coach Sharon Moore, run power down their throats for 60 minutes.
And I'm just quick scanning the comments. Somebody said, "Hey, make the show 90 minutes going forward." That's kind of what Monday Night Raw is about.
Hey, I was gonna say.
It's designed to just be a little appetizer.
Yeah,
if you want the 4 or 5 course meal, we'll see on Patreon.
I was going to say a quick wrap up, and then you and I are active all week long together on Patreon. So it's like, come on over, join the chat, have some fun. And
I think the promo card is CAR currently, CARR.
Oh God!
Check it out. $10.
Yeah, don't jinx that if it's Carr, right? If he starts going, we're going to change that thing.
That's fair enough. All right, Tim. Good job, buddy. We'll see you next week.
All right, guys. Thank you tons. Thank you.